reassuring. I didn't need to look sideways to know the young men would follow her down the carriage. I wondered what would happen next. The young men appeared. One of them pulled at the girl's bag again. Her wrist was grabbed. Her arm was twisted in order to make her release her grip on the handle. She shouted. I didn't feel sure what was happening. I didn't know what to do. I stood. I raised a hand. I said, "Hey." As a small boy, I once fell backwards from a high swing and hit the back of my head on the ground. As this accident was happening, I watched it remotely, from the perspective of the branches of the tree to which the swing was tied. Now, through the side windows of the train, as if I were hovering between the external glass and the subway walls, I saw myself walking backwards through the carriage, holding up my arms around my face and upper body. The young men were attacking me. Many of their blows looked as if they glanced harmlessly off my head and shoulders, and some missed me altogether, but some blows connected hard. My movements seemed slow and confused. My hand swung out a couple of times to ward off the men, but the gesture looked no more fierce than if I was swatting away a fly. Soon my legs buckled, and I fell backwards against the seats, then rolled down to the floor. From my position outside the carriage, I watched as the young men kicked me into unconsciousness. Chapter 1. Still as a remote viewer, I remained near my unconscious body, not in continuous observation. I saw myself in a series of slow snapshots that must have been separated by several hours, if not days. In the first image, and my briefest, I saw myself in the back of an ambulance. My shirt was open and covered in blood, and an oxygen mask was being held to my face. In the next image, I was lying on a hospital bed in what I imagined was an intensive care unit. I was still wearing an oxygen mask. My head and chest were bandaged. I was connected to machines. Catherine, my secretary, was sitting beside the bed, and she was crying. A male doctor stood behind her. He was reaching towards her, as if about to make a gesture of comfort, but he never seemed to cover the remaining few inches to complete the gesture, and his fingers remained floating above her shoulder like a faith healer's. In another image, I had been moved from the open ward to a private room, and the girl from the train carriage was in the room with me. She was holding a bunch of chrysanthemums and a card, and she looked uncomfortable. She spent more time looking at the flower she held than at my face, which was now out of bandages and showing its bruises, but sleeping peacefully. The girl stayed with me a short while. Her lips moved occasionally, but I missed the words. Eventually, she put the flowers in a vase and the card on my bedside table and left. In the final image, a man, a nurse I think, sat on my bed and talked to me, and as he talked, he looked with great concentration at my face. Again, I couldn't hear the words, but from his posture and expressions, I knew he was speaking in a very direct manner. I assume he was trying to wake me up. The male nurse was still with me when I finally did wake up. Back in my body now, I opened my eyes with some effort, arching my eyebrows to pull the lids apart and break the sleep crust. A damp cloth or a sponge was wiped against my face. I asked for water, and the nurse put the lip of a glass to my mouth. When I swallowed, I felt as if I could trace precisely the path of the water down my throat. I thought I could feel it pooling in my stomach, and the surface rippling as I shifted my position. "I am alive, then," I said eventually. "Yes," said the male nurse. "Am I badly injured?" "You're recovering." "Good," I said. "That's good to hear." Chapter 2. Sometime later, I sat in a wheelchair and talked to two policemen. The older of the two did most of the speaking. He wanted to know if prior to the attack I had laid a hand on the young men or assaulted them in any way. "Absolutely not," I replied. "I mean, I was trying to stop them from robbing the girl, but all I did was stand up. The next thing I knew, they were punching me. I wouldn't have had time to assault them, even if I had wanted to." The older policeman nodded. "That's no different from the statement of the witness." "Was she hurt?"